My name is Prashant Chandrasekhar. I manage Skin Deep Tattoo Studio, Bangalore. That's the only studio that we have. That's me. What do you want to know?
Origin of tattoos. Actually, tattoos is a very beautiful thing. It was there from very long back. There is no particular time duration. Many of the Discovery, National Geography and all, they are mentioning BC, all those things. But I should say it's not like particular time duration. It was there from so long back.
The origins of tattooing in the early days were mainly done by the tribals.
Tribes have been doing it from a very long time. So commercial tattooing started only after a point of dermatologists, cosmetic tattooing. So that's how it actually started. There's one famous person for that, Dr. Jahangir Kohyar. He was one of the famous people to start doing it. He was quite popular back then.
The person that I learned from would be considered as, I would rather call him as the godfather of modern tattooing in India. So he was the one who literally brought the new form of tattooing into India. He was the first person to bring in a tattoo machine and start tattooing with machines in India. So that is Dr. J. Kohyar.
I think India and across the world, tattoos were originally a mark, an identification.
So that time it was artificial scars. Now obviously that's a tattoo, which a more advanced way. So there is no timelines for this. To make the difference and to make the difference between one group to another group, they started doing it from the long back.
Like soldiers for their kings or the slaves for their masters and stuff like that. It was initially to identify people as, okay, this is this sect of people, this is that, these are these people, these are that. That's how tattoo started originally, as a mark or an identification. Over time, that sort of transformed into a decoration of the body.
The oldest discovery of tattooed human skin dates back to somewhere between 3370 and 3100 BC. Otzi the Iceman, Europe's oldest mummy, was discovered by two German tourists in 1991. He had 62 tattoos, many of whose locations on his body suggests were used for acupuncture. While tattoos don't have one historical point of origin, the word tattoo comes from the Polynesian word tatau. British explorer Captain James Cook recorded his observation of heavily tattooed people on the island of Tahiti. This was the first time the word tattoo was used to refer to the permanent marking of the skin. Historically, tattoos have been used for different purposes. Indigenous cultures who never would have met each other have their own tattooing practices. Communities use them to mark the coming of age, membership to a group, and spiritual power. The Greeks and Romans used tattoos to mark slaves, criminals, and prisoners of war to discourage them from escaping, while the Egyptians used them for religious purposes and beautification. In early 17th century Japan, tattoos were used to mark criminals as a visible form of punishment. When woodblock printer Utagawa Kuniyoshi made a series of prints based on a famous book, Soikoden, featuring outlaws covered in tattoos, it spread like wildfire. This art style was used by criminals to cover up their criminal tattoos, which have become synonymous with the Japanese mafia, the Yakuza. The Yakuza saw tattoos as a painful way to prove courage, loyalty, and to instill fear. As tattoos evolved over time, so did the tools that were involved.
Stick poke tattoo basically works with our hand motions. There is a huge stick and the needle will be there. They'll be dipped with the ink, and with the hand motion they'll create the patterns and the designs. And then the next thing is coil machines.
The machines that were used, the tattoo machines back in the day, were just made out of coils, a copper wire wound up onto a piece, and machines made out of that. So it actually uses the same principle as a classic old doorbell.
Coil machines, that's the time when I was entering it, like a 2009, 2010. That was a trend. That coil machine was the trend. So coil machines basically have two motors, and one motors will be the high end that will be used mainly for the linings, and the another motors will be have the low end that will be basically used for the shadings. So this coil machines will be put the needle configuration. There are different needle configuration. Lining needles will be different, shading needles will be different, as well as the magnum will be there for the different textures.
A liner is what do you say? Generally, when you take a tattoo image, right? When you take an image, or if you take a vectorized version of any image, a liner is what outlines the entire thing. It's a thicker, where it's like about 4 or 5 needles, not 5, but 7 or 8 needles. So they call it a 7 liner, they call it a 9 liner. Those are the ones that are regularly used. Those are sort of packed into one thick needle, and that forms the line, that forms the outline. Generally, outlines are made out of that. And then there is a shader to cover larger spaces. Needles will be spread over like a, how do I say this? Like a paintbrush. Or sometimes there's a round shader. Different types. Those are the normally used shaders, normally used needles.
So in the magnum also 2-3 patterns will be there. So that and all will be put it. So this coil machines, when you talk about, it's fully manual. Only thing is, stick poke tattoo, our hand pressure will be there. Instead of that, we are using electricity pressure. Remaining all will be manual. That needles, needle holder, ink dips, everything will be manual.
So initially in India, because we did not have access to getting these machines, it was still very old school, where we used coil machines. Even till date, there are a few artists who do use that. That was the initial way that Dr. Kohyar also, that's the kind of methods that Kohyar introduced into the tattoo community in India.
Then the next evolvement is rotary machine. Rotary machine is the noiseless one.
Once the markets opened out, access to needles, access to inks, access to tattoo machines became far easier. So today we are using machines which are rotary machines, we are using silent rotary machines, we are using swash drive machines. These are all very high-end machines which also which benefit the client as well as the artist.
Coil machines will create the huge noise. You can't even, for example, in the starting days when I was doing the tattoo, if I'm working for like a 5-6 hours, and the end of the day when I go for the sleep, I still hear that noise when I was sleeping. So that much noise it will create, that sound will come. Then this rotary machine is the noiseless one. The 2 motors, it will be conducted as a DC and AC motor as a single piece. But remaining all the needle and every alignment is manual. It's not automatic.
These older machines which are quite heavy, they tend to strain the artist's hand and they can't work for longer periods. So as a result, when the rotary machines came into the industry, they were much lighter. They enabled the artist to work longer hours. And they also ensured that the trauma caused to the skin of the client was less. So the client could sit longer hours as well.
And third evolvement is full automatic. That is the Hawk. That's the famous brand called Shane. They have invented this from Germany. So as of now, still in Bangalore, if you see many of the tattoo studios, they use coil machines only, because this automatic which I'm talking about is very costly. In our studios, we use we use that automatic machine. So this automatic machine, needles, everything will becomes as a cartridges. Needle got evolved as a cartridge. So it will be whole packed. You no need to manually put or something. You no need to do anything. Just open the pack, put it on the machine, start to do the tattoo. It will start to do the magic. Okay. So the benefits of this comparing to the coil machine is, this rotary machine, or not rotary machine, this Hawk machine which I said Shane machine, this will be fully automatic and it cannot able to go more depth into the skin. So it's fully automatic. It will go only up to the second layer of the skin. That's the safest layer the needle should go. So you will be get the more smooth and precise output. That's the basic. It's kind of a huge revolution in tattoo industry. Now the Shane taking the another step called the wireless tattoo machine. So it's like a pen now. Just a one pen. Wherever you want to travel, you just put it in your pocket, go do the tattoo, come back. That's it.
So this is how the equipments have progressed from something very crude to something more refined. So that's about the evolution of the machines. The process through which a client goes when he has to get a tattoo. So as soon as he walks in here, the first thing that we do is we do a temperature check. Get himself sanitized using a sanitizer. Then we ask him to sit down, and then there's a consultation session.
We ask them to come over for a consultation, discuss the design, their ideas. We try to customize as much as we can, but some people do prefer designs that they find on the internet. They just want the exact same thing to be copy pasted.
We'll ask them what kind of the tattoos are you looking for, or if some people ask us, show your sketches, I don't have much idea about it. So we'll show it to them. So they'll be choose, okay, this kind of effects, I like it. I need to go ahead with this effect, but the concept is this. They'll say some particular concept. So we'll get some time to do the customization.
So if the design is fairly simple and we do not have any appointments that day, then we finalize his design and we do the tattoo. However, if the design is complicated and it's a large tattoo, then we do a consultation. We tell him that we'll work on his design, we mail it to him, and then we fix up a date for his tattoo.
So they'll come and they'll give some suggestions, like what are all the things they wanted to be changed, so they can change it and they'll go ahead as a tattoo. So before that we'll show the digital illustration to them.
And before he comes, his stencil will be ready. So once the stencil is ready, we keep everything ready, and then we call him inside. Then we prep his skin up. So prepping the skin would be if he's getting a tattoo on, say, his leg. So we shave off the hair on his leg. Then we mark out the area where the tattoo is going to be kept with the stencil on. We just mark it out. Then we transfer the design onto his leg. And once the design is transferred, we ask him to have a look at it for the position. So this is all the finalization process.
And once they confirm everything, the placement, everything's fine, we start the tattooing process.
We set up our needles and we show him the needles before we open the packaging, that they are new and that we'll be using new needles. Okay, so just to give you a small tip, all needles also have expiry dates. Even the tips that we use have expiry dates. So we show him that even inks have expiry dates. So we show him all that, whatever we are using. Once we show him all that and we pour out everything, then we start the tattoo. Now once the tattoo is started, at any point, if the client feels uncomfortable, he can tell us to stop. So we stop, give him a break, 10 or 15 minutes, depending upon how long he wants the break. Once he's comfortable again, we start tattooing again. Once the whole tattoo process is completed, we clean up the whole area with, basically it's a disinfectant kind of a foam. We clean it up with the foam, we leave the tattoo for about 5 to 10 minutes to breathe and air out. There will be a little bit of bleeding plasma which comes out of the tattoo. We allow all that to come out, clean it once more, and then we put a dressing. The dressing has to stay on the tattoo for a period of 4 days, and then we give him the post-tattoo care instructions. So this is the exact process of what is there from the time he walks in till the time he leaves.
Years ago, when we were in the initial phase of tattooing, people would give you that weird look if you have a tattoo on yourself. They're like, why do you do that to yourself?
There's all sort of bad things.
Yeah, they think you're a drug dealer or a junkie.
When I started, the perception of tattoos, how it was when I started tattooing was quite bad, to be very honest about it, because people tended to look down upon a man or an individual with tattoos.
I can relate to with my own personal life, because after my engineering MBA, when I was working, I returned back from there without informing my home, parents, nothing. I suddenly informed them, like this, I just quit the job. So they were like, why did you quit the job? What you are going to do? So I said, I'm going to become a tattoo artist. They have no idea, is that a profession called tattoo artist is there? So they got completely shocked. In those timings, like a 4 or 5 years, my parents, all the functions or the meetups, family together, everywhere, my parents used to say, my son is working in a Microsoft. So I stopped going all the functions for almost 6-7 years. I stopped going it. I'm not participating on anywhere. So that's how the society was before. That generation people, they started cutting out. They think it's completely a taboo. And my son is going to create the taboo. How they will be allowed it?
The society has been driven by idiots for the last God knows how many years, and that's been subconsciously driven into our heads. You know, sometime back, if someone said, "Hey, shit, he's gay," what is gay? It was like that, and then it changed. People were more aware of facts like this. Like, okay, this is also a human being. This is also a normal person.
They used to always consider that kind of an individual having some association with a gang, or having some sort of bad habit such as drugs or alcoholism, or you could name it.
If media started showing tattoos as they're tattoos, it's something someone wants to express. Simple. It's as much as wearing a black t-shirt or wearing a t-shirt with prints or anything, wearing an earring, wearing spectacles.
Even when you look at a lot of movies, that was what was portrayed. So if you're heavily tattooed, you belong to a gang. That was the idea that was given. So probably that's where it would have started from.
But yeah, that taboo for it to change in India is going to take some time, because nothing against people here, but we're more driven by, we're like sheep. We like to follow what's happening. Nobody wants to make their own decision. Nobody wants to understand what the situation is. So someone like 10 people tell you that tattoos are bad, it's bad. 10 people tell you, how can you get a tattoo? Are you doing drugs? Like there is absolutely no connection between drugs and tattoos. Some 10 people tell you that, what are you getting tattoos? So you're doing drugs, huh? What sort of drugs you're doing? Where are you, all of that shit. So it's the mindset that needs to change. It has changed. It's changed significantly.
But once the media came into the picture and they portrayed tattoos as something, as an expression of one's own self, and also as a style statement, then things started changing.
The change in the perception of tattoos in India can be largely credited to the media's portrayal of tattoos. Big celebrities were seen sporting tattoos in the mainstream media. It showed everyone that having tattoos didn't mean you were part of a group. It was just a form of expression. Social media has become a big part of our society, making the lives of celebrities more accessible to us than ever. Watching our favorite movie stars and sports icons flaunt their tattoos has a significant impact on our perception of it.
This whole celebrity angle of it, I guess if more and more celebrities get tattooed, because nothing reaches the masses. Yeah, I was going to say dumb audience, but nothing reaches the masses like what celebrity. Like if Amitabh Bachchan got a tattoo, I think 10 lakh or 1 crore people will say, what are you saying? Tattoos are the best things to get. Shahinshah himself got it, Nothing reaches them like that, and media.
So things became far better and things improved. And people started accepting tattoos as more of a style statement and a personal expression. To give you a good example, footballers are sports personalities, such as cricketers, are Bollywood celebrities, film stars from the Hollywood industry. all of them started sporting tattoos because they felt that it would be an expression of themselves and what they felt at that particular point of time. And people started looking at it from a broader perspective, and they said that if somebody like that could do a tattoo, why can't we? And if nobody is looking down upon them, then why would they look down upon us? So media has got to be thanked in this regard for making tattoos making tattoos be accepted by the society.
Social media has not only given visibility to celebrities but also the tattoo artists themselves. Tattoo studios have gained large following on platforms like Instagram, which they use to display their art form. All these factors have shaped the tattoo culture in India that we see today.
So, perception of tattoos has been accepted. I mean, people have accepted it now, and I see that with the number of conventions and events that are being hosted, where large gathering of tattoo artists happen at one event, where they showcase their work, and people come there to just see this, shows that the community and the people or that particular culture has started accepting this art form. Not only just because they like it, but they see that there is a future in it. And not because of the bias and the negativity that it carried before, but because of one's personal expression of himself. And that's I see that as a positive.
Despite the long way we've come on how tattoos are perceived, there are many issues that plague the tattoo industry. On the 24th of March, 2020, the government announced a nationwide lockdown as a preventive measure against the COVID-19 pandemic in India.
संपूर्ण देश में संपूर्ण लॉकडाउन होने जा रहा है।
The COVID-19 pandemic which hit us, it was a huge eye opener for not only me but other tattoo artists who are running businesses such as myself, because it gave us a good 3 to 4 months to introspect and see whether we are actually following certain hygienic norms and sanitization norms which we were taking for granted before the pandemic hit us.
It was tough initially when the lockdown was started.
Complete lockdown, that period was really tough because
We can't really work, so main source of income, so we were fighting it.
It was terrible initially when we started. As a business point of view, when we started, once they gave us permission to sort of go and work, it was really bad. It was like Skin Deep is known for 70-80 tattoos over the weekend types, where the guys who pull out the numbers. But from that to like a Saturday, we'll be sitting probably 6 o'clock in the evening, one person will come to get 1 star. So we'd all sit and just stare at each other,
Okay, so I don't know exactly about other studios because this COVID situation was really sad for many people. Even I have seen in front of my eyes, many people closed the tattoo studio and they used to call and ask me, will you buy my studios, all those things. And that was really a bad impact in the tattoo industry.
It was really bad initially. And then we followed all the rules that we have to follow, right? Everyone's got to make a living at the end of the day. So we did all the rules that we put out, have temperature scanners and make sure everyone's wearing a mask. Make sure there's as little physical contact and stuff like that. But when it's a tattoo on your body, there is a little bit of physical contact.
After that, we had our regulars who kept coming in because we always follow that strict hygiene rule. So people kept looking at that and we were like, okay, this is a safe place, I can go back anytime.
So yeah, and over time, I think, as and when the atmosphere became cooler, around, when people said, Corona doesn't exist, what is Corona? And then people started coming in and getting tattoos. Now it's okay, it's picking up.
We want to change. Change is the only thing which we need to do, whatever the field it might be. So we started accommodating all the things in the online. So if the people want some online consultations or something, we ask them to come to the studio for the designing and everything. We started doing it in online.
We always wanted this to be regulated just like how the medical industry is regulated. So there's no regulating or governing body for the tattooing industry.
That thought has been on my mind for the past 8-9 years. As a result of which, the licensing bit of it, we took it seriously, and we formed an association, and we set up certain rules that artists need to follow and studios need to follow, and we circulated it amongst most fellow artists in Bangalore. However, the response that we got from other artists and studios was not very positive.
Mostly 90% of the studios which will be not having GST or the proper license, or not having that regulations properly. But I should say India not having the proper regulations for tattoo industry. They should see about these regulations. Because it's not an easy stuff. It's going to, people, they are risking their skin.
You have a lot of people tattooing from their homes. They have no idea what they're doing. So a lot of things going wrong,
We are a group of 6 people who formed this association. Most of them gave us this one answer, saying that when the government itself is not interested in our well-being, then why are you so interested? So I had just one thing to say. I said, if the government doesn't give you any benefit, then we need to take care of our own selves in case something goes wrong. And that's the reason why I put these rules forward.
Government needs to understand this and gives the regulations for that. So once they're regulated, I should say, now for example, 700 studios are there, it will reduce, obviously become 300 or 400. That regulations needs to come out. So once that regulation comes out, people also feel more safe, and we can also make the things more transparent to them, so they'll be trust more.
My name is Alan. I am 23 years old. I'm currently a student in the Netherlands, a university student. I'm warming up to the idea of art on my skin, and I wanted an original piece by Suresh Baju, so that's why I've got this piece right here. Part of it is to cover up my old scars, but part of it is also the love for having art on your body. I wanted it to have something to do with my scar and my history with mental health. So we've got a phoenix pulling a man up, as if I'm reborn, after that incident. I feel like part of the mental health journey is that, your past and your scars are triggers for what you went through and your trauma from that period of time. So if you don't want to see the scars, or if you want to cover them up to have a new light on what those scars represent, then tattooing is the way to go.
My grandma used to say when I was in a childhood, when you go for the vacation to her place, she used to say me that tattoo is the only thing which is going to become with us after even we die. There's nothing else is going to become with us, and that's the only thing which is going to be on our skin. They remove all our dresses and all our property, money, nothing is going to be with us. Only the tattoo which is going to be with us even after we died also. Don't die nude.
leaves a permanent mark on a person's body, and practically they'll remember you for a lifetime. So that creates an impact. So that gives a good feeling.
I think that a tattoo is a form of jewelry that you wear on yourself, and you can ornament yourself as much as you want without having the fear of somebody stealing it from you.
I think everyone's going to be tattooed. It will catch on. Everyone's going to be tattooed. Every single person is going to be tattooed. The ones who don't have tattoos will be left behind. Not left behind, will feel left out.
You know, art is not just, something that is related to gangsters and lowlifes. Art is something that everyone can enjoy, and it's something that, if you want to put it on your body, it's something that you want to put on your body.